Mr. Secretary, two questions. As you're aware, the House Agriculture Committee passed H.R. 977, which conveys to the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the SEC, and other qualified regulatory authorities some of the oversight, the clearing, and the regulatory authority that you were talking about that would be subordinate to those exercised guidelines from a systemic regulator. Do you think that the regimen proposed by that legislation would be consistent with the regimen you're attempting that the administration will be attempting to implement?
I'd have to take a careful look and get back to you in writing, but what we're trying to do is to provide a delicate balance which preserves the existing SEC and CFTC authority over those centralized markets, but still provides in an entity with broader systemic responsibility the capacity to look across these entities, make sure there's a level playing field, and that we're protecting the system as a whole by ensuring there's stronger safeguards in place where those risks are concentrated. But as I said in my remarks, there's a lot of complicated jurisdictional issues we'll have to sort through, and we wanted to start by proposing things that will guide the substance of regulation. We'll have to step back at the end of this process and look at what the right division of labor is across the existing functional authorities.
Yeah, please do, because it's an attempt, I think, to give you tools that would accomplish what I heard you say this morning. Second question was with respect to the new mechanism for creating liquidity of asset-backed securities that you discussed yesterday and will continue to discuss. I am concerned that given the need for capital, which financial institutions of all types, critical need right now if they're going to become functional, that this regime not underprice these assets, need to be fairly priced but not underpriced. And the question I have for you, under this regulatory scheme, if your initial auctions produce prices that in your judgment are at the low end of fair market value in a freely functioning market, are you prepared to provide additional leverage into the system which would have the impact, I think, of increasing bid prices to a point where the solution to the problem doesn't exacerbate the situation we have today where these institutions tend to be badly undercapitalized if they're going to perform effectively?
You're right. Providing more leverage would help against that risk, but we have to worry about the other risks. We're not leaving the taxpayer too exposed in this context. But life's about alternatives. You have to think about this relative to the alternatives. This proposal is better than what we exist today, because today you have a market where there's a very stark absence of financing, absence of leverage from private sources, and that's leaving at least some of these markets with a large liquidity risk premium. And this will make that substantially better.
Yeah, we all want to make sure the taxpayer is treated fairly, right. But to the extent that the taxpayers, the desire to ensure the taxpayer receives maximum price leads to the financial institutions receiving less than a fair price, right. It will increase the need for you to induce capital directly. Right. And I think taxpayers are going to be stuck with that alternative as well. And this strikes me as a better balanced and market-tested vehicle for providing the capital than a direct subsidy. And it has as the advantage you're not nationalizing the system. And I would encourage you to look at your leverage and the experience of these initial auctions to see if it is yielding a fair to the taxpayers, but nevertheless full price to the institutions.
Well, you've got the trade-offs right. I mean, you exactly understand it, and we have to figure out a delicate balance for those things. But you got it exactly right.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.